welcome back to Just See Through TV. And in this episode, we're gonna be talking about the Perfectionist Trap. So how many of you guys, if I asked you, would say that you're a perfectionist? But I think that the very dangerous thing that all of us perfectionists can run into is, okay, so what about when our perfectionism stops being a good thing? What about when it starts holding us back from what we really want to be doing and building the life that we really do want to build? All right, so to make this perfectionist trap more clear, I want to show you how all of us perfectionists think, which I really think is a lot of us, right? We think and think. So I want you to pretend that we're here, okay? And this is a perfectionist. And this is what we do, guys. This is what perfectionists do. We prepare, and we put so much time and so much energy, and we just figure out everything until it's absolutely perfect. And then what do? We take an action, right? Our big action. And we expect, our expectation here is that this is gonna be great, that this is gonna be amazing, that we're gonna be the master, right? Because we did all this preparation. But if this is something new that we haven't done before, what very likely happens for us perfectionists is that we take this action and we don't get the result that we thought we were gonna get. And so what happens? So at this point, what happens is we either fall apart and we fail, and let's draw us upside down. We just give up, right? Because we can't comprehend not being great. Or maybe the other thing that happens if we're a really confident, audacious perfectionist is maybe we prepare again, and we say, this time I'm really gonna get this right, and we take another action. And let's say we fail again. So for a perfectionist, guys, you know, because most of us, I think, are this way, especially a lot of high achieving people, where we hate this. We hate this. We hate trying and failing, especially when we tried and prepared so hard. So the perfectionist, we can only handle this process so many times. Once for the faint of heart, but for the really confident ones, 2 or 3, maybe 4 times, you give it a try, massive preparation, fail, and then we say, you know what, maybe this just isn't for me. Let me go back to my comfort zone of what I'm good at, because I obviously did all this preparation and I obviously did not make it happen. All right, so let's get this out of the way. And now I want to show you how the really ultra successful people, how they're making their decisions. So about 1.5 years ago, I started studying these peak performers, these high achieving people, and I learned something very interesting about them, which is that they actually make their decisions the complete opposite that us perfectionists are making decisions. And I'll show you what I mean. Let's say this is the successful person. Looks kind of similar, but don't let that fool you, because the way they make decisions is very different. So I want to show you what they do. They assess information, and then they take an action. And they learn something here, and they assess information and take another action, assess information, take another action, assess information, take another action. And you know, sometimes they're gonna go backwards. Sometimes they're gonna go off to the side. Sometimes they'll go this way. But you know what their trajectory looks like? Even if it looks all crazy like this, it's still getting to where they wanna go. All of these successful people, they all understood the importance of taking action, and eventually they were gonna end up here. Whereas remember, for us, for the perfectionists, this is what we did. We went like this, and then we took an action, and then we gave up. It wasn't necessarily that this person's first action was the right one, but they were willing to keep taking action until they got there. All right, so let me get this Vincent Van Gogh out of the way. All right. So now that we see how us perfectionists have a tendency to make decisions, and how these peak performers and high achievers in our society are making decisions, how can we put this all together to understand how we can break out of this perfectionist trap and really be going towards what we want and getting the results that we want in our lives? Step 1. Not sure if that's legible or not, but it says realize what works. So you know how in these different help programs where it's like, my name is Justin and I have a problem, and everybody says, hi Justin, and then we say my handwriting's terrible. So our first step is we have to figure out what is it that works. So if these peak performers and these highest achieving people in our society, in our world, if they're making their decisions like assess, decide, assess, decide, assess, decide, again, maybe sometimes they go backwards, but if this is how they're making their decisions, and if they're getting way more incredible results in their lives than we are in our lives, then we really have to be honest about the fact that, okay, if this is what they're all doing and it's working for all of them, and what I'm doing is paralyzing myself and not going for what I want in my life, then step 1 is realize the proper way to make decisions for peak results, and commit that, okay, this way is better. Maybe I should give this way a try and see if there's something to it. So step 1, realize what works. The second step to break out of this box of perfectionism, this perfectionist trap, and really live how we want to, is this. And this, just in case that's not the most beautiful calligraphy ever, it says timeline of success. So perfectionists, you know what we do? We view success like this. We view it like prepare, 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 success, right? We expect it to go like this. And if we fail between here and here, we're devastated because we thought this is where success was supposed to happen, and it didn't happen. And so if it didn't happen, I guess I must be a failure. However, how I believe these peak performers are looking at the timeline of success is they look at it more like a hockey stick. So let me show you what I mean. Let's say we have this curve here. The perfectionist believes that they're supposed to be successful between here and here. And so they give up probably like right there, right? And I'm saying this because I know from personal experience, I'm not just talking bad about you guys, I'm talking about myself too. So we give up here because we expect that how success works is prepare, 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 success. However, I think that successful people, I think that the reason that they're able to keep taking all these actions and not give up as quickly and keep going until they get where they want to go, I think it's because they're viewing success more like this. So how they view it is, it's okay if they don't get it right between here and here. But by the time they get here, you know, instead of in 1 month, more like in 5 years, they're gonna get here. And so they're viewing the success timeline a little bit differently. They don't expect this. They don't expect that with one massive preparation session and one action that they're just gonna be that great perfectionist version. They're seeing that these are their times to learn. These are their times to understand, okay, this is gonna take longer. This is how long it's gonna take me. And they're not putting as much pressure here. So since they're not putting as much pressure on this beginning part, right? Pressure, pressure, pressure. Since they're not putting as much pressure on this beginning part, it doesn't matter as much what happens there. It doesn't matter as much if it's not such a perfect action, because this is not the part where success happens. They're seeing it more like it happens over here. And this is just the beginning for them. All right, let me go to the next piece of paper here so this doesn't get too terribly crazy. If it already got too crazy, I apologize. And the third thing that I think us perfectionists do that these peak performers are not doing is this. Actually, I'm not gonna write it out because it's too many words, but we underestimate the value of learning from each action. So for example, you know what us perfectionists do? This is what we do. We think that we can just study, 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 read, prepare, craft the perfect thing, and then take an action. And we think that that studying, that reading, that preparing is enough to get that action because it feels like we were doing a lot of work. But what the perfectionist is not understanding that the successful person does, this is the successful person, is let's say they take this action. Let's say their first action wasn't as good, but they learned something. And now let's say they go up here, still a little bit off, but they learned something. And they keep kind of calibrating until they get to success. So the perfectionist, what we do is we think that we can prepare and get there, but we undervalue the importance of what we can learn from each action that we take. And this data that the successful person gets is very important because now they know, oh, okay, go here. Oh, okay, go here. All right, so let's bring this all together so that we can figure out how to get out of this perfectionist trap of, so much pressure on ourselves that we're not always really going for it and building that life we really want. So to recap everything, the first thing we learned is we need to admit or be aware of what's actually working. So how are these successful people making decisions? If they're all taking massive action and they do assess everything, action, assess everything, action, assess everything, action. If that's the way that they're doing it, then we have to admit that and be willing to commit to giving that a try, because if they're getting better results than we're getting, that would really kind of only make sense, right? Especially if they're all doing it. And then for the second part here, understanding the timeline of success, remembering that success is a little bit more like a hockey stick curve, where if we're not successful here, doesn't mean that we failed, it's just part of the curve. This is normal. The successful person views this is a normal part. This isn't failure. This is where the success is, but they're not expecting it here. The perfectionist expects it here, and they fall. The successful person is willing to keep going because they know this is part of the progression of the journey to get here. And then finally, the third thing we learned is, I'll put learning, the importance of learning, right? Like the treasure hunt, the importance of learning this new information. The perfectionist, we assess, and then we go, but then it doesn't work and we wonder why and we think we're not good enough. We don't realize the importance of taking the action, learn something new, readjust. Take an action, learn something new, readjust. Because each time we learn something new, even if sometimes we take the wrong actions and go backwards and this way and that way and that way, we're gonna keep adjusting and calibrating that even if we only learned a tiny bit, if we take enough action and keep readjusting, then we're gonna get where we wanna go eventually. I know we all wanna get there right this second or yesterday, but we are gonna get there if we understand the importance of each of those actions and the learning that comes with it. So guys, that's it for this lesson of the Perfectionist Trap. Just remember these 3 things and you're gonna be all right. And remember, most importantly, be patient with yourself. This is a process. So guys, thank you so much for being with me. If it's your first time here, please subscribe just so that I know that these videos are adding value and just kind of really helps to give me a sense of how I'm doing. Maybe you're loving the videos, but I might not know. So subscribe so that I know that, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Lots of love. Peace.